Hello, everyone. I'm Gary. I'll be playing Alfred Johnson tonight, the medical examiner, and maybe the next boss.
I'm Termite. I'll be playing Amy Veeres, our systems analyst, who's really just done with everything.
I'm Tanya. I will be playing Genevieve, aka Frankie Ashford, our acquisitions specialist, Alfred's right-hand gal.
I'm Jade. I'll be playing Kayla Proffitt, the financial investigator.
Hello there. I'm Alereg. I'll be playing Becker, the administrative assistant.
Hi, I'm Bloodied Porcelain, and I'll be playing Karen from HR.
I'm Legacy, and I'll be playing the Intern? Envoy? We don't really know at this point.
And I'm Scott, the Chill Master for the evening. The past, present, and future are all indicators that we use in our language to describe events. We mark them in our memories and in our plans as things we have done, are doing, or will do. Many of our human expressions have devised ways to express these events in ways that we can interpret and understand them because the human existence is a forward progression. We use clocks, rotations of the earth, etc. to mark time, and as far as we're concerned, we're always moving forward from birth to death. This is what life means. But to some, the visionaries and mystic of the world, time is not linear, nor a spiral. Sometimes it's a loop, sometimes it's existence everywhere, all at once. And in our fragile perceptions, we see life in such a manner, and they can see things differently. But imagine, if you could, the ability to experience all moments all at the same time. Perhaps this is what it means to be a fourth dimensional being. Our envoys find themselves with such a being who claims that they are not only that, but something more, that they have been here since the branch was first built and needs the help in dealing with creatures that have imprisoned him and his companions in another dimension. So we join these envoys now as they set out to rectify the situation, the bottom secret floor of the save office in Colorado. It's April 28th, and it's still Flannel Friday. So, you all devised a plan. You created a contract with this extra-dimensional being in which you would help them escape from the prison that they were in, wherever that was, to be able to go back and fight the war against the other extra-dimensional beings that were imposing themselves on that dimension, as they kind of are imposing themselves on yours. And you agreed that you would help in exchange for them leaving this dimension and all of its people alone, and placing Gary's character, Alfred, temporarily in charge of the office until such a time as an actual leadership could be selected. At the very last moment, when our screen went dark, the being that is called Warfin was talking to Frankie and explaining, because she asked how you make babies in the extra-dimensional plane. We're not going to discuss that, but that's where we take off, with him backing up after having whispered the secrets into her ear. So hello, everyone.
Hello.
So Warfin pulls back from having shared the secrets, which were probably not something that it's really anything that Frankie could comprehend in any way that makes any sense. But nonetheless, finished his bit and then was ready to lead you all somewhere else. Does anyone want to say anything before he takes you off to wherever it is that he wants to take you?
Well, faster we finish this, the faster it's all over and done with, and I can enjoy my weekend, so I'm just gonna go with him.
You better enjoy it, because I'm pretty sure this is the last weekend you're getting.
We'll see about that.
So,
You're the one that volunteered.
where are we going?
We're going to where we've built the portal or where we built the fledgling version of what we intended to open. It is in a rudimentary state at the moment because we were going to launch this in about a month. You've come about 30 days too early.
We're going to rip a hole in the fabric of reality.
Well, that's a potential scenario.
So is there going to be any problems with us doing this early? You said 30 days. How big of a difference is that going to make?
I don't know. A lot of our plans involved more research and development, but we got you kind of put a monkey wrench in that, as they say.
So we've complicated things by trying to help.
I'm not sure if killing your head researcher is help, but if that's what you think help is, then I really don't understand you human beings.
I mean, job is to get rid of the unknown, and he was very obviously unknown.
Also, I'm pretty sure he started that fight.
He did. He was the one that had all the bugs come out and start attacking us.
Yeah. I think we should be blamed for his death.
Not. Darius hasn't been known to just fly off the handle like that, but if you
keep microwave shrimp in his pockets.
Oh, well, he certainly is or was off base, but that's what you need in a researcher, someone who can be different, right?
I think there's a difference between being different and being incredibly unethical. And I think microwave pocket shrimp toes that line.
I think it does, yeah.
Definitely.
Alfred.
Why am I involved with this?
You ate microwave pocket shrimp, Alfred.
No,
What exactly is wrong with microwave pocket shrimp?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm simply asking what is wrong with that. I quite enjoy microwave pocket shrimp, honestly.
Okay.
Wow.
Big red flag. Shrimp should not be microwaved, nor should it be kept in your pocket.
Okay, well, you eat sea bugs in any other state, so I'm not sure why this is a problem.
Have you ever been present when shrimp is microwaved?
I have not. I simply have our intern here bring it to me whenever it's done that ping
See,
thing it does.
that's the main issue. You haven't been firsthand experiencing
You
the
haven't
stench that it
experienced
creates.
the microwave shrimp.
And just to clarify, you ask for microwave shrimp, is what I'm hearing.
Look, among many other ways you can prepare sea bugs.
I think we've already established he's well beyond the human bounds of sanity, given that he exists well beyond the bounds of human existence.
See, this is why we were thinking about promoting you, Amy. You're already thinking like an extra-dimensional being.
I'll be honest, I just don't want to continue this conversation any longer.
It has been 2.5 minutes. That seems quite a long time to be talking about pocket shrimp.
I mean, you're the one that prolonged it by saying that you like it.
This is a fair statement.
Better
Very
than
perceptive.
making
Oh, certainly. Well, it's not a machine exactly, and he starts to lead you through the curtains of his office to one of the long stretches of checkered floor tiles in the weird space that is what is the bottom floor that just has repetitious rooms. He doesn't lead you into any of the other repetitious rooms, just down one of the hallways, and he turns and this hallway again, as is designed by those hanging red stage curtains. And he looks at the intern and he says, You're coming with us, yes? I believe this would be your first field experience.
Wonderful. And she nods her head and takes out her brand new, sparkly clean notebook that just says field notes on it. And takes out a pen and starts jotting them down. I am right behind you.
Everyone recognizes this. This is the typical Envoys first notebook. Many of you just kind of blow through them within a first couple of weeks working for Save. Frankie probably still has hers completely untouched somewhere in a box or something.
Oh, yeah.
We get notebooks.
Oh, yeah.
Did
I
you
take
not
his
fill out
notebook?
your notebook?
I didn't think I ever got one. To be fair, I've been at this office for about a decade, so.
Yeah, things have changed, and I'm fairly certain that I had told Dirk from accounting to bring you yours when you first started, but I guess.
Yeah, he's
perhaps that didn't
unreliable
happen.
like that.
Dirk.
I think he might just be aware that you have a problem with him, so he doesn't want to deal with you.
Also, Dirk has been working here for decades?
He
mean,
started
it
when he
makes
was 18.
Oh. He doesn't look that old. You know, he's aging well, I would say.
Well, you humans and your aging, that is a thing that I'm aware I should have been sort of, I guess, mimicking.
As
Anyway.
a victim of aging, yes, it is something that happens.
I've seen envoys get frailer, and I understood that to be aging.
Sure.
Here we are. When he leads you to the elevators, it's the same elevators that you've traveled dozens of times to and from, but this time you notice that there's actually a 4th floor button. It looks like it's always been there. You just haven't ever remembered it being there. And he presses 3.
Exactly how much mindfuck shit is there in this entire office, out of curiosity?
He simply looks over at the new envoy, but doesn't say anything.
Yeah, she just looks back at him and then looks at Alfred and kind of it gives like a half grin. Enough. There is enough.
Copy that.
You wonder why we don't trust you.
Me or her?
Both.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, here we are, 3rd floor. A door opens up in front of you. Could we perhaps let Rouge out of his cage, or should we keep him inside?
Does he need to be present to get his?
I guess now that we know what's going on, we can let him out.
It would make it easier for the consciousness to transfer back if it were closer to the portal. I do believe we're going to need a few more minds. Why don't we gather some? Who in the office do you think could handle a brief moment of extra minds?
There
Probably
is
Becker.
zombies still walking around. Technically,
I-
bodies that aren't doing anything. So
Aaron.
I don't believe there are. I'm hearing a volunteering of Becker and Karen.
Definitely. But I mean, would Karen work?
Why wouldn't
She
she?
is also an unknown, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an experiment that we've never tried before. I do know Darius seemed to be immune, but he was also a mobile corpse.
I think without knowing what Karen is, we probably shouldn't rely on her as a vessel. Maybe have her as a backup, but
Phil?
Phil is simple-minded. I'm not entirely sure he could handle more than one. I'm not sure he handles more than one mind, or his own mind at the moment. I heard, based on paperwork, that he was constantly misplacing his key cards and things.
somebody else was constantly
he totally
misplacing
was,
his
yeah.
keywords, key
Yeah,
cards.
misplacing his key cards. Yep. What about the other two Johns?
Yes, I think the Johns would work. Yeah.
The ideal
Roger.
candidate look like?
Someone with a strong will in mind.
Yeah, definitely Roger then.
Yeah.
He works here as a janitor, so
Yeah,
he puts
Oh,
up with that
yes.
leak moving every day.
Yes, good point. If you could, and he turns to the new envoy, we will need Roger, the Johns, Karen, Becker, and perhaps a few others from the office that we think have strong minds. Dirk from accounting,
No,
maybe?
no,
Any-
definitely not strong enough mind.
Yes.
Dirk can come in. Yeah.
What? He's like really smart.
he
Nah,
also puts up with Alfred.
he's got a mind for numbers, but that's about as far as it goes. You need strong minds. Too weak.
Actually, he is quite strong. He's probably one of the strongest minds in this office.
There we go.
Not strong
And
enough
if-
now to
if-
shave that mustache.
If you can find Leroy, perhaps we could have him join us as well. His mind is a steel trap.
Unfortunately,
don't think-
Leroy's currently in the hospital.
Yeah,
I think
I would
he-
suggest somebody is actually in an ambulance right now.
Oh, well, then not him. But thank you, if you could get the others. And he continues to lead the rest of you. He leads you out of the elevator and toward the labs. Yes, poor Leroy. He has been interesting. He's been on to me for as long as he's worked here. Smart one, that one is. Smarter than I think many of you other humans.
I agree.
Has Leroy worked here?
Well, he's not technically a human, so
Alfred,
Alfred
you
has
are
been
not
proven
one
that
to
he's
talk.
human.
I'm still a human. I just have things that are not human in me.
Why do you hate Leroy so much? He's such
I
a
don't
nice
hate him.
guy.
I don't say I hate him. I like Leroy. I think Leroy's great. It's just he's not human. He's a
John.
zombie.
John, if you
he's
clear
not.
this up, is he Leroy an unknown?
Oh, not as far as I'm aware.
But you just said he's one of the smartest, craftiest people you've ever met, so he could be disguising it.
If he is, he's craftier than even I, which makes him the most powerful mind I've ever encountered here in this dimension.
Wow. Is that what you're saying, Al?
If it means he's feasibly a zombie, then yes.
It doesn't.
Doesn't, no.
Zombies are kind of known for being mindless walking corpses, typically.
Exactly.
Except Darius.
I don't think Darius is technically a zombie.
Darius was also kind of mindless.
No, Darius is insane. There's a very big difference.
He was out of his mind.
That would be a relatively good assessment, but he could detach his limbs. I once saw his hand walking around in the lab, just playing practical jokes and pranks on the other researchers.
How did the other researchers not report Darius for being unknown?
They forgot.
I would like to look at the intern envoy person.
Who is currently gone
Has been
because the
sent
elevator
off
door
to
closed.
acquire people.
You know, I forgot about that.
But he opens the cage to like Rouge's containment cell, the door, and Rouge crawls out and says, "Yes, sir, I have been serving you well." He says, yes, I understand. Come with us. He doesn't even attempt to pick him up. Rouge just drags himself along behind you all as he goes into the lab.
Poor guy.
In the lab, he goes in and he opens this hermetically sealed container, and from it he pulls it out, and you just see this little sort of pillow thing holding an amulet, which is green and has strange markings in a circle around it, and there's a gem in the center. The gem is also green, but inside there seems to be some kind of strange movement inside the actual gem. It maybe it's water, maybe it's just things that are loosely floating around, but they float. They're moving even as it's sitting still. This is acquisition item 736, the Eye of Moat.
Exactly.
I wish I knew. But what I do know is that it does enhance certain powers. The best way to describe it is, if I were to attempt to open a small portal or dimension to some other place, this would enhance that. But I believe that Amy has the ability to see beyond this dimension. Am I correct in that?
I can see a lot of things. I'm not sure if... Well, I've never exactly tried anything like that.
But you can see in the fourth dimension, from what I understand, from your assessments, or from the assessments of your abilities in your early days.
Assuming the fourth dimension involves looking through time, then yes.
Yes.
Then yeah.
Yeah. Good. In this third dimensional vessel, I am unable to do that myself. So this is why you are needed. You can also reach into things with your mind, can you not? When you touch something, you can understand how it works. And when you use your mind, you can actually physically move things.
Yes.
Yes. Good. Then that's exactly what I need. Here. And he takes the amulet off of the little pillow and he puts his hand out to hand it to you.
Okay, I guess I'm taking the amulet.
Yes. Wait, hold on a second. I realized I don't have any of my coins right here. Give me one moment. I am not going to force you to turn a token to use your ability. But as he hands you the amulet, you can immediately understand how it works. That is how your ability works, right? You can kind of tell what it's made out of and its blueprints and things.
Yes.
Yeah. You get this strange understanding that it's made out of materials not found either on the planet Earth or in this dimension, or rather that it's in every dimension all at once, which makes it a very strange thing. It's some kind of alien item that has been here both forever and also just now at the same time. The symbols you don't understand. It doesn't tell you how the symbols work, but you do understand that because it's everywhere all at once, that it can be used, like he was describing, to open dimensional portals because it exists in time and space and extra dimensions. All of it is pretty much beyond your ability to understand, but you do get the vague feeling from it that you can figure out how it works.
All right, I guess that's the important thing, is I can figure out how to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a lot, but also at the same time, nearly nothing.
It's just another Friday as far as I'm concerned. So what now? Do we just wait for the others to show up with the vessels?
Well, we could put it on the altar. And he moves toward one of the doors. His keycard unlocks the door, and when he opens it, you see this ring made out of stacks of paper. It's like this strange, kind of cool-looking doorway, circular hobbit-like doorway, but it's made entirely out of all of your reports that have been getting filed.
Oh, fuck
Frankie.
off. You're making a portal out of our paperwork?
Frankie laughs.
This is an entirely new level of bureaucracy I didn't think existed.
Well,
You
that
made us
was
do everything in triplicate?
that is why. Yes, I needed extra copies so that I can make this.
This is hilarious.
So much time writing those.
By hand. I'm impressed. We filed a copy so that we could research. We filed a copy because we needed to for record-keeping purposes, and then we filed a copy so that we could build this. And it's strangely made out of something you call paper mat?
Paper mate?
Mate? Mache? Maybe?
Mache? Paper mache?
Yes, it needed to destroy itself as soon as it was closed so that the other dimensional creatures don't follow us.
Wait, you've been in here for decades now and you don't know what paper mache is?
No.
Do you ever go outside? Just all?
No. There's a chance that something would come through, so I had to continue to maintain my vigilance.
John, you are an enigma.
Why, thank you.
I'm gonna look over at Kayla. I mean, I don't hate him, honestly.
You know, I can't say that I hate him. I also can't say that I really like him at the moment.
It's at this point that John Rouge comes dragging himself into the lab, but so does the elevator ding. And you hear voices of people being led down the hallway.
If I see him do anything funny again, I'm going to shoot at his kneecaps a second time.
I don't think that will really have any effect.
It'll
don't
make
think
me
they
feel
were.
good.
I'll look at John on the ground. Do you want like a cart or?
Can we just get him a chair?
Yeah, can we get him something? This is quite sad to watch.
Oh, a chair would be great, thank you. Sir, I've written much of the equation, but I still don't have it all written out. Says it's fine. We probably don't need the equation solved at this point. Oh, thank you, sir. And then he sits in the chair that's offered to him.
Wait, but he's been using his blood and stuff for the last couple of hours trying to figure out this equation.
He's also essentially an extra-dimensional being, treating a human body as a puppet.
Why do I kind of feel bad for him at the moment? Like, I know I shouldn't,
Yeah.
but
Just
kind
keep
of
in mind, these
pathetic.
are also the beings that have been feeding children to a monster in our containment lab, so
that's true. I no longer feel bad for them.
We can't blame that on them.
Yeah, I
That's
thought
kind
we
of
were doing that.
what our organization does to study the things.
we don't know that they made that order, not the organization itself.
Yeah.
The organization's saying, hey, kill the thing.
But in
If
order to
other
kill the
envoys are willing to do it, then yeah, that's fucked up for them. But as a whole, I very much can blame them, and I do.
Oh, are you talking about Bob?
No, we did read about Bob. What the fuck is Bob?
Some sort of long-standing being. He was 1,000 years old. Very good at chess.
And where are you keeping him again? Because I remember reading that he's off-site somewhere.
Yeah, we gave him a cabin.
Just a cabin he can come and go from as he pleases.
Oh, no, he has guardians.
To make sure he stays there.
Mhm.
And you check in on him.
Him? No. Guardians? Sure Karen has paperwork on that somewhere.
It's not fill me with much confidence.
Well, you will soon be the boss. You can take care of that.
Alright, sure.
It's at this point that a whole bunch of people get funneled into the lab.
Did I hear my name?
You did, Karen.
Hello, sir.
Hello. It's afternoon, is it not? 3 o'clock or so?
I believe so, sir.
roughly,
Oh.
yeah.
2 hours until you get to go home, Karen.
Indeed. Quite thrilled. This Friday feels like it's just taken so long.
It has been a long day, hasn't it?
Very. Inordinately, one might say.
For once, I agree.
You feel like every day goes on forever, Alfred, especially Fridays.
Yes.
Has felt especially long though.
And we missed lunch.
That's
Oh, did you?
probably- Yeah.
We were too busy
I mean-
killing all the things that you let out.
We could find some shrimp
Ugh,
if you're
I'm
hungry.
gonna pass.
Gross.
We don't want you.
John.
I think we can handle that after we deal with opening the dimensional portal to rescue a bunch of enslaved extra-dimensional beings.
Sure. I mean, Alfred, you'll have the extensionary fund. You could purchase everyone dinner.
A steak dinner.
It
Maybe
is-
as like my first decree as boss, I don't immediately put a bunch of funding to waste.
Oh, why not? I do it every week.
Think of it as mandatory morale.
I do love building office morale.
Yeah, you're not invited if we go.
No, Karen can come.
Thank you, Miss Veeres.
Oh, anyone want to tell me what the heck's going on right now?
To
We
put
don't have enough time to explain it in a way that you'll really understand.
exactly. So the short version is we're gonna put weird things in your body, and they're gonna get blasted through a portal away. But you'll be fine, probably. If you're not, then I'm also not, so it's fine.
Wasn't this due
See-
for another month of testing, sir?
It was, but we've had to step up the timeline.
I wonder why. She's looking kind of pointedly at the envoys, but doesn't say anything.
Man, it's almost like we're doing our job.
If we had been informed of what was going on, then odds are your plans wouldn't have had to be pushed up because we didn't understand what was going on and we were doing our job.
But I
You
did
have
send a
very
memo.
detailed contract if you would like a copy of it.
In triplicate.
Of course.
You keep saying you send these memos, yet they never seem to reach us.
Of course they do.
Leroy has far too much work. No, the memos don't get to us. They get stuck in the mailroom because, again, Leroy has far too much to handle by himself.
Yeah, he's also injured now too, so.
Are you suggesting that none of you got the memo on the mandatory safety meeting in May?
There was a safety
We got
meeting?
that, but it didn't exactly explain what's going on here.
No, that was all that was necessary.
It's not that there was one. Can remember, it's still April. So.
Right, but you should have gotten the memo.
Yeah.
I was very clear on that being delivered immediately.
No, we got that memo. It's just saying there's a mandatory safety meeting does not explain the fact that we're opening up a portal and launching extra dimensional beings into the ether or whatever.
Right. You want to probably lead with, we're going to open a portal on your memos. You know, maybe put the safety meeting at the bottom.
First line, we're opening a fucking portal. Second line,
I
safety
would like
meeting.
to point out that odds are that it would have gotten a very similar reaction to what we did today. So, I think more clarity could have been helpful, but also more clarity probably would have caused more widespread panic than what we did already.
Yes, and the first thing that you will learn, Alfred, is that you don't want to cause panic.
Instead, I'll just cause a office-wide crisis where many workers die at the hands of zombies, bloody bones, weird bug dudes, and many other things.
Yes, and then it will become required for a safety meeting.
I
You're
still
an
think
asshole.
that could have been handled a bit better.
Well,
Seriously, who
then-
puts lockdown instructions behind a fucking cipher?
leaders who are trying to figure out which of their envoys are the best. To be fair, everyone was safe until you opened the actual doors.
Weren't we slowly running out of oxygen?
Well, that was just to get you to try to find the solution. Everyone was fine. I think.
So you did intentionally put us in danger.
The options were either run out of oxygen or get a bunch of people killed by opening the doors that would give us oxygen.
Indeed.
You might not understand this as a fourth dimensional being, but people need oxygen to live.
That is interesting that you believe I am a fourth dimensional being.
I don't know what else to fucking call you, so.
You're still thinking too small. At least Amy is thinking much bigger. Speaking of which, Amy, can you think as big as possible for us, please?
I'm not sure what exactly you're meaning by that.
Well, do whatever it is that you do when you reach your mind into the fourth dimension.
Okay, I guess. Actually, I do actually want to do something.
Okay.
Can I use premonition to see how this is going to go for us?
You're going to use premonition?
I'd like to see if our current plan of action is going to completely fuck with us.
Okay. Well, you can certainly use premonition as much as you want.
Oh, well, I don't like the way that was phrased, but... Hell yeah.
Nice. Okay. So that used the token though, right?
Yes.
Yep.
The
And
main
you
thing
got...
is, I want to know, are we going to have things come at us that are not the things we're trying to get.
Hmm. Okay, so you have a low success?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I took my 10 willpower damage.
Okay. What you see is a whole lot of chaos and destruction happening around the office. There's just panicking. There's paper flying everywhere. There's lights and swirling things and just utter chaos. But you can't see whether that means you're doing it right or wrong.
I'm going to warn everybody right now. If we move forward with this,
However,
Oh?
as you are doing this, the eye of Moat begins to glow in your hands because you reached into the fourth dimension with it. And things begin to swirl and move around the office. In the lab, papers begin flying and chaos begins. So you can relay your vision to everyone while the chaos that your vision showed is beginning.
No, that's exactly what's gonna happen. She's gonna be like, okay, so if we do this, and then she opens her eyes and she's like, fuck. Okay, everybody,
sorry,
try to remain calm.
So, sorry, I was like about to say something and then I started coughing. So around you all, as Amy is coming out of the thing that she normally does when she's doing some premonitions, things around the lab begin to go haywire. Lights begin to flicker, papers begin to fly around. Stuff like the jars and things begin to fall off shelves. The Bunsen burner things kick on randomly, even though they're still off. There's just random spurts of flame everywhere. And there's a green glow that begins to build in the ring of the paper mache portal. At the same time, Amy begins to talk, and you all begin to feel like a strange pull. That's what's happening. So now, you can go ahead, Amy, and speak to them.
Okay, everybody please try to remain calm. I don't know what this is gonna do. Let's hope that I'm doing this right. I'll be completely honest, I'm not exactly experienced when it comes to opening portals between dimensions.
And since we're speaking honestly here, I'm honestly just too confused to really be panicked at the moment, so got you covered.
There's really nothing we can do.
Yeah, Amy is terrified that if she stops focusing, that something's gonna go horribly wrong. So she is full devoted to opening this portal and keeping it open and stable.
Very good. And Frankie, you want to say anything? Anyone else want to say anything before I continue on with what happens next?
Are we all just staying in our own place? We're not like moving like the other like papers and stuff?
You are not moving. Yeah, the push and pull is not moving you. You're feeling a pull toward the portal, but you're not being moved physically in any way.
Okay. Then yeah, Frankie will just, I think she'll move a little closer to Amy just in case she needs to try and grab her.
Okay. Becker, Karen, or Legacy, are you doing anything?
Becker is looking to Kayla right now like, what the fuck are you guys got me into right now?
Well, just
Yes,
looks at you and shrugs.
Also note that Becker doesn't remember what's been going on for the last couple of hours.
Yeah? Fine, I'll go along with it and trust you guys, but
Probably not the best call, but appreciated nonetheless.
Yeah, at least
Karen,
soft
any-
about it.
Any last words from Karen?
No, I think she is standing and watching with that very too big smile on her face.
Is she wearing a flannel?
This all looks like it doesn't bother her at all.
She was wearing a flannel before. She's still wearing the same flannel that you've seen.
Of course.
Right.
So the real important question is how much flannel is she wearing?
Oh, she's got like a flannel shirt dress.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
It's actually kind of cute.
All right. Legsy, any last words before I move on?
I think that the new envoy is taking very detailed notes, and her eyes go back and forth between Amy and Kayla, kind of like watching Amy and then her eyes shifting back to Kayla as if she's kind of like not like studying her, but like watching over her. And then
Dirk.
going,
Oh, and Dirk is nearby somewhere.
Dirk's probably right next to her.
Of course he is.
Yeah. He's got a strong mind, but his will is weak. It's how the intern likes her men.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
I definitely did.
So did Alfred.
Good.
All right. If Amy could make a willpower roll for me.
Oh, that's unfortunate. No.
Okay.
Considering
you-
my 13 current willpower.
Yeah. You are unable to, you're able to hold the thing, but you are unable to sort of control the power. There's an arc of energy that comes from the Eye of Moat. And then it sparks this green circular swirling thing in the center of the paper mache portal. This swirling green vortex grows in size and in color and starts lighting everything around you into this green glow. The lights burst out from all of the lighting fixtures above you and rains glass down on all of you. Glass continues to shatter as jars fall off the shelves, papers flutter around, and in the green glow you can all see each other in this sort of different view. You can almost see as if you are looking at older and younger versions of yourself at the same time. There is a young Alfred standing there, but it also is a much older Alfred. There's a young Amy, but also an older Amy at the same time. It's very confusing to see, but just as this portal grows in its full color toward the edges of the portal, all of you feel whispers enter your mind. You can feel other minds entering your minds. And I'll give you a moment to react to this situation before I tell you what happens next.
Did we
Do I,
agree to us having minds inside of our minds?
I mean, I kind of assumed that we would be the best candidates.
Kind of.
Is that what we signed?
That is also kind of what we signed.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read the contract.
Yeah, I figured you didn't.
Do I hear additional voices in my head, or is it still just the 4?
No, the 4 get louder in your head. They start shouting out in glee.
In that case, I'm just gonna kind of look at these weird illusions I'm seeing of ourselves, kind of glance at the younger me, a little bit disappointed, and then remain stone-faced.
Do I see an older me?
You can't see yourself per se because it's you that looks older. You can see an older and younger version of the other 3. Weirdly, John Worfen looks exactly the same. He hasn't changed at all. But
Can I look down at my hand and see that I'm?
Yes, you can see. You can see parts of yourself being younger versions, and you have like thoughts and feelings that you haven't had in a long time. So you are aware that there's a younger version of yourself standing in the same place as an older version of yourself.
I think if she is able to see her hand flicker older, I think she's gonna smile a little bit. Because she never thought she'd get old. Figured she'd just die young, doing something stupid.
The portal grows in size, and as it does, you begin to see balls of light leaving it. They're like balled lightning. They spark and they move from it. John Worfen shouts to them. He says, yes, you're getting free. Find mines, find them, and we can stay in these bodies until we all go back to fight the war. And then he starts to glow, much like the ball lightning. Alfred is also glowing, and all of you begin to see the same kinds of glows coming off of yourself.
This is good. This is what's supposed to be happening. I'm just gonna kind of look over at everybody.
In your mind, you hear yes, 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 4 distinctly different voices agreeing with you or answering to the affirmative.
Kayla's just gonna close her eyes and try to pretend that this is not currently what's happening around her.
Frankie is gonna give all her voices names.
Okay. The names that you give them, whatever they are in your head, the names agree to the names. Like they agree that sounds like a good name for them.
All right, now pipe down, you 4 or 6 or how many there are.
Seems to be 4. As you get the names under control, another thing starts happening. The portal begins to shake and break, and something comes out of the portal. It's like a dark shadow, but in the shadow you can see starlights or something. And it's not that you actually see this darkness. You see it as something against the contrast, the shadows that are being made, like a different dark that is not the shadows being made by the green light. And as you see it grab hold and start to pull on the portal, Worfen begins to shout and scream at it in a language you don't understand.
What are the other people doing? The Becker and the group and Karen.
I mean, it's a good question. Becker, Karen, Carla, there's a hand of some kind of thing coming out through the portal. You can tell that Worfen is incredibly frustrated and afraid of it, but also angry.
Angry at
The hand. Whatever it is that's pulling itself out of the portal.
I see. I don't think there's anything I can do about that, unfortunately.
No, I don't think so either. As the hand pulls more of itself out, an arm begins to come out. And then Worfen turns to Amy and says, Amy, harder! Push harder to the other dimension!
Very helpful.
Make another willpower roll for me if you could.
Right. That's another failure.
Cool. The portal begins to grow beyond the paper mache space made for it as the hand pulls more of it down from the top and it just starts to extend out. There's a sudden bright flash. Amy, you find yourself in a car driving down the road. You are disoriented for a second, but you suddenly realize where you are. A long time ago, you were in this car. You were driving down the road. You were in a vehicle with Maria, I believe her name was. Is that right? And you're having trouble remembering why you were in the vehicle with Maria at the time. But you were there. And it's starting to realize as you are in this moment that you're in this moment again. And you're transporting something or going somewhere. But you and Maria are together. The others are not with you.
Do I have the memory of what happened the last time I was in this situation?
You do.
So, you don't mind if I put on music, do you?
Says Maria next to you.
No, go for it.
Okay. And she'll reach over and flip on the music, and she'll start doing that thing that some people do where they obviously don't know what they want to listen to. They just know they can't handle silence, and she's like scanning through channels and stations. What do you like to listen to?
Honestly, I'm down for pretty much whatever. I don't mind.
I have my phone in my bag. I'll grab that, and we'll put something on that way. There's nothing on the radio right now. There never is in these podunk areas, are there?
Yeah, radio's very hit or miss. Usually miss in places like this.
And she'll go to try and lean over the back of the seat, only to realize that her bags are directly behind her, so she can't really reach them. Well, shit.
Hold on, I got it. Amy is going to essentially let the scene play out exactly as it did. Mm-hmm. She's not going to try and change anything.
Mm-hmm. You begin to use your hidden hand power, the power that Maria taught you how to control and use, to reach behind you and grab the bag, to move it toward the front of the car where you can remove the phone and all of the like. But as you begin to reach out, you feel this strong control. Like you have full control over it. Like you've been doing it for a long time. Longer than at the time you were able to do. And it's like you have the control that you had when you were in the office trying to open a portal with the Eye of Agamemnon, but you're in the past. However, as you're reaching out with the hidden hand to move the bag. You see in front of you, in front of the car, a tall, giant creature made entirely out of darkness with these star points. And it's holding the eye of Agamemnon in its hand. It is right in front of the car. And because Maria is looking at you, she's not seeing the thing that you are about to hit.
Amy just looks over and says, I'm sorry.
For what?
And then I imagine they hit the thing.
You lose control of the hidden hand as you're distracted, talking to Maria, realizing what's about to happen. And the car loses the ability to break. It lifts up off the ground. Maria's face turns to look out the window, and she slams on the brake, but the car is lifted too much to be able to stop, and you slam into the creature, causing massive damage. The car crushes. You remember, and you can almost feel, I mean, you're feeling it as it's happening, but you can remember what happened to you, how you bounced around, even with the seatbelts holding you down. Maria is also thrown back and forth, slamming into the sides as they crumple around her. The car ends up flipping over onto the ground, and you lay there as it slides to a stop. Blood is everywhere.
Can I still see the creature?
You can see the foot of the creature near your window.
She's gonna try and get into a position where she can see the eye and try and pull it away.
Okay. You push the door open and try to get yourself out of the seatbelt. It's a bit of a struggle, but you unbuckle. As you drop to the top of the car, you can see that Maria is in fact dead. But as you're looking at her in this moment, with her face changed and mangled by all the destruction, you realize now something that you hadn't ever noticed before. And before, because this was a memory from so long ago and it was so traumatic, you can remember Maria, but in this moment you realize that her face, in its currently mangled and changed shape, with things being pushed around, that she looks very much like Karen. You hadn't noticed the similarities before. But now that you know Karen, you realize that there's definitely similarities there between Maria and Karen. And as you shuffle out of the car, scraping yourself along the glass, you can see the creature in front of you, and it's looking at you. But standing next to the car is also Maria, but as she looks like later as Karen. Confused, not understanding what's happening.
I don't feel like I've been here before.
Yeah. Sort of. I don't think things were quite like this last time.
What's happening?
I don't know. All I know is we need to stop that thing. We need that amulet that it's holding. I need to get that from it before it quite possibly destroys everything.
Karen, you can see your body in the car hanging from the seatbelt.
Miss Veeres, why? This is a very cruel joke to play on someone.
This isn't a joke. Trust me. If it was, then I wouldn't be the one playing it. I just need you to trust me. Please.
Why does she look like me?
If I had to take a guess, I think it might be because she, well, I guess was technically, but not exactly. Maria doesn't make it out of this. I think you're what's left.
Does it dawn on Karen what she's being told, or is she still confused?
I think that it might start to dawn. But, you know, how do you understand when you're looking at yourself, when you're standing there looking at yourself, essentially?
Right.
You're in two places at the same time, but you only have one mental ability to see it. The other one is unconscious, not breathing. But it certainly looks a lot like you.
That's a lot of blood.
Yeah, it was the first time this happened, too.
The creature begins to move and turn toward you.
Do you think you can help me?
Do I see the creature? Or is that
You do.
only an aim? Okay.
You
I'm
can
sorry,
see
I
it too.
misunderstood. I didn't think I could see it. With that, I'm not a fighter, Miss Veeres.
We don't really need to fight. We just need to get that thing. We need the amulet. If it gets it, then I don't want to think about what happens. Amy is going to hold out a hand to Karen.
Karen takes a step away. Kind of wrinkles her nose. You should plug your ears.
Okay.
Chillmaster, I would like to use my one combat ability. I don't know if it'll work against this thing, and I don't know if plugging her ears will help Amy.
Okay.
The reality is probably not, but I tried.
Yeah, so all things around you are affected by it. The plugging of ears probably doesn't help Amy, but you're not directing it at Amy. So Amy, you hear if the glass around you wasn't shattered already, it would be shattering as Karen screams at this thing. It's a shriek, a wail, all of the pain and anguish of understanding that that potentially she died, and all of the life that could have been lived comes out of her. The creature drops the eye of Agamemnon and steps backwards like it's sort of stumbling back. Its hands go up to what is presumably its head, what is shaped like a head, and it reels backwards, and the amulet falls onto the ground in front of you.
Amy is going to pick it up.
All right. As you pick it up, things begin to swirl and change.
Question.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Does Amy have to make a roll?
No.
Oh, okay. Cool.
If Amy did have to make a roll, Amy would fail.
Okay. All right. This is we're on the same side for once. So she does. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. I'm not going to traumatize Amy simply because you were working with her. That's why I was like, it's not aimed at Amy, but it does say technically all targets.
Yeah.
So, but I'm counting Amy as not a target technically.
Cool.
Yeah. But it is terrifying to hear, and potentially would have been seriously traumatizing. Wink.
Oh, good. let's see what would have happened. Yeah, that tracks.
Mm-mm. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right.
She still would have had 3 willpower.
All right. So everything begins to swirl and change. Kayla, you find yourself in an office. On the top, not the very top story of an incredibly tall building, but near the top. It's a corner office. You're going through paperwork. It's not your office. It's someone else's office. You're here because you were hired by some contracting company to investigate some weird financials for a particular company, a company that's trying to hide something. You're almost like a subcontractor to what you believe is a government agency. And they're having you look into some stuff. This company has been fighting it, but because you're an independent auditor, they're letting you look at their books. And it's been a long, arduous, boring deal, but you've begun to find little things that are different in the paperwork, things that you're starting to find exciting. And you realize as you're in this moment that you've been here before, that you've done this before. This was a few years ago where you first got introduced to Save.
I'd like to leave the office.
Mm-hmm. So you get up, you walk around the desk, and you open the door. It's quiet and empty in the cubicles in front of you. You vaguely remember that this was much late at night. This was well after the hours of the office closed. And you remember that you were alone because you were just working away, and it didn't seem like anyone was paying attention to you after they put you in one of the boss's corner offices near the top of the building.
I, slowly keeping an eye out for anything that's different, would like to walk to the elevators.
Mm-hmm. You remember... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
I was say, you remember that you did this before. You remember that you felt something and you went to the elevators because things felt weird and wrong. Something about the air felt different. And you remember that the elevators, you went down to the lobby, but before you got to the lobby, it stopped on another floor and the door opened and you encountered some people doing something wrong. still want to take the elevator?
I'd like to take the stairs instead.
Okay. You're changing things up. The stairs, well, you're on like the 52nd floor, so it's a long climb downwards. It's a neat workout, but you're not unaccustomed to workouts. As you're going down the floors, they're counting downwards, as they should, because you're going down. But as you start to get near the 20th floor or so, you realize that there are candles lit on all the stairs. You didn't notice that before. That was a detail that you don't remember because you didn't take the stairs the last time you were here.
I'll go ahead and get off of the staircase at the 20th floor then, before walking towards the candles.
Okay. So you get off on the 20th floor. The 20th floor appears to be an open floor. There's not really any furniture here, but there is a glow in this empty floor near the center, near where the elevators would be. And you realize immediately that this was the floor that the elevator doors opened on when you were going down the elevators in the first place. And you know what's about to happen. You know that there's going to be a whole bunch of people in robes, and they're going to be standing around some kind of altar, and they're going to be attempting to sacrifice a person. That's what you witnessed before. You didn't intervene then, but you told the people who had hired you what was going on, and they sent a squad of people to deal with it. That was how you got involved in Save.
Going to get the attention of the people in robes.
Okay. They're chanting stuff, and they are standing around an altar. And you get their attention. You try to get their attention?
Yes, I would like to start walking towards them and just yell, "Stop. Don't do this, please." And see what happens.
You shout, "Stop. Don't do this, please." As you do, they turn to look at you. And your phone starts to ring. It's from your assistant calling to check on you. You remember this. The assistant called. She was down in the lobby, and she was the first one you spoke to. Her name was Carla. She was the first one you spoke to about what was going on. Your phone is ringing. They're all looking at you. There's a person kneeling on the floor in front of them. Around the person's neck is a necklace. And on that necklace is an amulet. It's green. There's weird writing on it. There's a green gem in the middle. And there's something glowing inside.
I would like to quickly answer the phone and say, "Carla, there's something going on the 20th floor. Please send help." And then immediately hang up.
Oh, you're not even going to give Carla a chance to talk, huh?
No. I would like to try to approach the person with the amulet and try and take it from them.
Okay. You approach the group in robes. They are confused, but they turn to face you. One of them is holding a curved blade of some kind. The person that is kneeling seems to be kneeling like they're accepting that something was about to happen. But the people stand in front of you, and one of them says, "You don't belong here."
I need that amulet.
The amulet is for us. The soul shall open the way.
Like to not respond and just try and grab the amulet again.
Okay. So they're blocking your way. You will have to be clever to get through them. But you remember at the time that this happened, you were not super well versed in any real kind of you were okay at basic hand-to-hand combat. I mean, you were learning self-defense. You took classes. You had learned some things in college. Basic how to scratch a person's eyes out if they try to tackle you in the quad, that kind of thing. But your real Kempo training came when you were in save. However, at this moment, because you can remember that you work for save, you also remember your training.
Try and push them out of the way, hopefully knocking any weapons out of their hands as I do so.
Yeah, you're trying not to harm them.
Yes.
Yes. Because you do not like to harm. Okay. Make a roll for me. See how well you do. That's a low success. Yeah. So you go to knock them out of the way. The one with the blade lunges at you, but you successfully sort of parry and redirect the attack, knocking the weapon free and tossing them to the side. The others kind of come in, but you definitely dodge them. And you move in to the person that's kneeling. They're looking up at you with sort of expectant eyes, not sure what you're about to do, but expecting you to do something.
Grab the amulet from around their neck.
Okay. They don't resist. You grab the amulet from around their neck, and you have it in your hands, but the people in robes turn to you. The one stands up. The knife is gone somewhere, but they're blocking you off from the staircase. The only thing they're between you and the staircase, and then there's the elevators. The elevator door pings, and it starts to open, and you see Carla standing in it. Carla, you realize, as you look at her, looks a lot like the newest envoy, the person that you called the intern.
To run to her and try and get onto the elevator.
All right, okay. And she's gonna try to start pushing people like out of the way to kind of make room for Kayla to get in.
Well, the elevator's empty. It's just the two of you, just you and her running towards you.
Okay, but you said that the elevator was also blocked.
Oh, no. So there's nothing blocking her from the elevator. So she's blocked from the stairwell. Sorry, I guess I didn't describe that very well. You're alone. This place is empty. Just these guys and you and her and the person being sacrificed. But you can start doing things like rapidly pressing like the door close button, trying to get it to close faster so that when she gets in, they can't just follow you on.
Yeah. She's gonna like just barely hold the door open enough for her to get in, and she's just gonna wait. Come on, get. Come on, you got two legs. Run!
Kayla is running as fast as she can.
Okay.
And
sorry.
Carla's gonna hold her hand out for Kayla and like pull her in the moment that they make contact.
Okay. We're both gonna roll. We're gonna see how well the people chase you into the elevator. Let's see what happens. So it's a movement roll that you're doing.
We said them at the same time.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna believe that you were the 3 and I'm the 41 just because I want to. I mean, they're both successes. Yours is just a higher success. So they catch up to you as they're running, and even in the robes, they're reaching out their hands to grab you. You can feel their fingers grabbing into your shirt, but you're just a moment ahead of you. Unfortunately, Carla reached out to grab you and yanks you in the doors as they close. Some of their hands get like smashed. Whatever reason, the sensors don't pick them up. Some of your clothes get tore, but you're pulled onto the elevator, headed down.
Oh my god, are you okay?
Not entirely.
Here,
but okay enough.
That looks like they got your shirt. Here, take my suit jacket. Sorry, I just thrifted it not too long ago, so it might be a little bit big. I haven't had a chance to take it in myself, and she's gonna take off her suit jacket and kind of like throw it over Kayla to cover up any of the holes or like rips and tears.
Thank you, Carla. I really appreciate that.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. What the hell was that?
A cult trying to do a human sacrifice. We need to get actual help as soon as we get down to the lobby.
Okay, you didn't happen to like grab any of their knives or anything, did you?
I did not grab any, no.
Okay, well, that means that they're armed. That means that we're gonna have to be armed too, and at that point, Carla's gonna reach kind of like into like, she's wearing, boots that cut off at the, kind of like at the kneecap. She's gonna reach into her boot and take out a knife and keep it tucked into like the belt hole loop,
Right.
just in case they try to, you know, come up. I know that like you're a little bit skeptical on the whole like violence thing, and I don't want to make you do anything that you're uncomfortable with. Like, I get it. I get it. They didn't like hurt you or anything, right? Here, let me take a look at you.
Physically fine.
Mentally?
Not great.
Well, how about I grab you a cup of coffee then?
Yes, let's get outside.
You know, I make a mean iced latte, so I wouldn't drink any of the coffee that they have in here, though. It tastes like rust and dirt water.
Yeah, I figured. I'm pretty sure there's a coffee shop just down the street.
Yeah. And Kayla would also notice as Carla is kind of like making sure that she's good to go. She's got like an engagement ring on her finger. I'm just happy that you're safe. This place is a little crazy.
I think that's a little bit of an understatement.
Well, are you adjusting well at least?
Is that I'm sorry?
I said, are you adjusting well at least? You know, despite the crazy whatever you just saw down there.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
It does get easier. And I'm almost finished with my internship too, so you know, pretty soon hopefully I'll be out on the floor as a full-timer instead of paid in college credit, as they say.
Make a great member of our team.
I appreciate it, Kayla. But none of this matters. All that matters is that we get out of here and get some coffee in our system and maybe something to eat and talk about therapy plans for the future.
Also call for help for the person on the 20th floor.
Yeah, you didn't take any of their weapons, did you?
No, I didn't.
And Carla's gonna just look at her and give her a very sad just expression. Might be best if we call now then. And she'll take out her cell phone and start dialing up the number for the security team.
Mm-hmm. As the doors to the elevators open, everything begins to swirl and change and fade. Frankie, on the streets of Quebec, liberating various items from tourists, and it's basically your typical Friday night. They're walking around. They're just so easy to steal from, aren't they? I think you're muted, Tanya.
Yes, they're super easy. Everyone's easy to steal from.
You're realizing as you're plucking a watch off of someone who is asking you for directions that this moment is a moment you've been in before. You've been here. You were just in the office. You were just standing next to Amy, making sure she didn't get pulled into the portal. And now here you are back on the streets of Quebec City. You're younger and you're fearless.
Well, if the night is still early, I think I will go somewhere. See if I can find some fun for the night.
You turn toward the alleyway that you're going to duck down, and you start to move down it. But in front of you, something moves from the shadows. Something that you remember, something taller than you, something with the head of a deer and antlers, but taller than you by probably a foot. You can see its shadow starting to form, but this creature, you realize, as you remember encountering this thing before and trying to run from it while it chased you down this very alley many years ago. This time, it's huge, very big. And while it still has the head of a deer and the antlers, it's dark and there's pinpoints of light coming from its body. It doesn't have the body you remember, which was more man-like. This is something dark.
Does it see me?
It's turning towards you, looking right at you. It can absolutely see you with its beady red eyes. Hanging from its antlers are bits of garbage, scraps of paper, and a chain on which is a green amulet with strange writing. It looks very expensive.
I see it as a creature, not a person.
It is a man body, a human body, but the head of a deer with antlers. This is similar to the memory you have, but different. Something has changed.
I think I will inch closer and just sort of try to speak to this creature that I think is a man.
Mhm.
Good evening. Kind of dark for you to be out here all by yourself with such a nice trinket.
It doesn't speak back, like words don't come out of it, but you get a sense impression that it seems to be responding and understand what you're saying. It is dark, it tells you, but it likes the dark. It lives in the dark.
Frankie will smile. Seems like we have a lot in common.
You get the feeling that it's smiling back, but nothing changes on the creature.
Quite a nice necklace, pendant. Can I see clearly what it is now that I'm closer?
Yes, it is the Eye of Moat.
My eyes go wide. That's very pretty. You know, I could probably value that for you if you hand it to me for a second.
It looks at you, and you get the feeling that it no longer trusts you. You get the feeling that's asking, why? Why do you want to see it? What is your purpose?
Well, you seem to like shiny things. I like shiny things, yet we both like the dark. We have so much in common. So let's be friends. And I'll split it with you. Whatever I get for it. 50-50. 40-60. 30-70.
It replies back with the sense that it doesn't care about the value of the item, but it cares about winning the war. The item is needed for the war.
Okay. Wow.
However, it begins to think, and you can tell that it's thinking in your mind. And you start to hear the whispers of Cheryl, 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 and Cheryl. That you shouldn't listen to it. But it's thinking, and it's thinking that if you're willing to change sides and help it in its war, then it will give it to you.
She's just gonna say under her breath, "Shh, Carol, shut up." Change sides. Kind of sounds like you think I've already chosen a side, which is great. Which side would you say I've chosen, just so that we're both on the same page? Because I know, I definitely know what side I'm on, but just so that we're clear, what side have I chosen?
You get this image in your mind of John Warfin when he turned to shout at Amy.
Oh, fun. You must be the other thing. He explained the whole world and interdimension. Wasn't that interesting, so I wasn't really listening, but let's see. Okay. Why switch sides though? Like what can I do for you? Why would you want me?
You get the impression that John Warfin is a war criminal. And there's a whole slew of war crimes that John Warfin and his people were supposedly committed according to this creature. However, all of these things that get impressed upon you, Cheryl, and Cheryl are refuting louder and louder, like they're trying to drown it out in your head.
She's gonna speak a little sternly, more sternly. Like, Cheryl, if you do not shut up, trying to have a conversation here. The adults are speaking. And I'll look back at the creature. So, war criminal. Makes sense. He was in prison. I did hear about the, and she just won't say it, but she's gonna give him some eyebrows. Did hear about what they were getting up to in there.
Mm-hmm.
What is your plan?
The impression you get is the creature smashing out all of the life of the various Cheryls in your brain, the person known as John Warfin, and others that were in the prison, but not all of the other creatures that potentially existed in that dimension. You also understand now that this creature comes from the 9th dimension.
Oh my gosh, so many dimensions. Frank is just rolling her eyes. Okay. What's your name?
There's just a laugh that comes from it because it is well beyond the concept of names and identifications.
Progressive. Cool. All right. Then, as I'm wont to do, I'll name you Cheryl.
The other Cheryls in your mind shout because they thought their names were unique, despite the fact that they all had the same name. They thought you were naming them individually and they liked you because of it. But now that you've named their most hated enemy also Cheryl, they begin to scream. It hurts in your head. It begins to cause a kind of migraine.
Frankie's gonna kind of smooth over her temples with her fingers as she's getting really annoyed now at these things. Oh my gosh. Do you have children in your head as well? You have this problem?
There's laughter from the creature again, and this time its head does kick back, and there's an audible on your plane of existence bellow that comes from it that is very much a chuckle. And
All
then
right, Cheryl.
it indicates that there's no need for procreation. There's no age amongst the ninth dimensional beings.
All right, Cheryl. Sounds like a deal. I don't know what friendship looks like in the ninth dimension, but where I'm from, if you're friends, you shake on it. And I'll put my hand out.
Cheryl looks down at you. Cheryl, and Cheryl are screaming in your head. But then it reaches out this giant, dark hand with starlight sprinkles in it. And while it completely dwarfs your hand, it does touch you. The moment it touches you, the Cheryls in your head silence.
And I will move my hand up and down, whether it moves with me in a motion of a handshake, just sort of smiling at him. Welcome to the team, Cheryl.
And then you find yourself holding the Eye of Agamemnon. And you can feel some kind of understanding of various planes. Something about you is different now. Something has changed. And the world begins to fade away. Things are getting crazy as we find ourselves currently in a small room in a basement. It's dimly lit. There's metal tables all over. There are sliding trays in a wall. It's cold. There's a body on the table covered in a blanket. Alfred, you're standing over the body. You've just begun to start the autopsy. You're investigating something in the crime lab, the state crime lab where you used to work. You realize as you're standing over this body, you're in the middle of saying something as you come to this moment that you've been here before. You're wearing a white lab coat. There's a name tag attached that says Alfred Johnson, medical examiner. The bodies of a recent stab victim or so. There's strange puncture marks on it that, while it was listed as a stab victim, you think those might be teeth marks. And that's what you were just saying into your microphone when you are here now in this moment.
So as I sort of come to that awareness and realize where I am, there's going to be like an immediate sort of gasp, and I first immediately reach down to my hip for my gun, which is of course not there at this point in time. And then I'm going to quickly reach for like my medical tray and grab for a scalpel or anything sharp.
As you're frantically trying to get at the blades, knocking some to the floor, the door to your room opens up. You kind of remember this happening. You remember there was a federal investigator, some agent that had come in to ask you a question and was asking you for a follow-up to the case, and you kind of blew him off and told him that you had a lot of work to do in your typical kind of gruff manner, that you just had a lot of work and you would get to the case file and like send it over to him as soon as you could. And he left right before, and it was him leaving that distracted you. When you turned back and you're remembering what happened to you, as you turned back, things were happening around you. The door opens and in walks this federal investigator to talk to you about this case. As he comes in, you recognize him as a younger version of someone you've met before. But at the time, you didn't know him. Sorry, you can go ahead now, Alert.
Dr. Alfred Johnson, is this a bad time?
Look up. Becker?
Special Agent Becker, yes. Hello.
Yeah, just one second. I'm just gonna grab a scalpel and just drive it into the corpse's eye.
What the? I'm not sure that's normal procedure, Doctor.
Special procedure. I have reason to believe there is something going on with the brain gray matter and frontal lobe and such, and this is just a way of getting in there quicker. Questions?
Yeah. So this victim, do you have identifying name or possible DNA fingerprinting that we can take a look at?
Well, I have reason to believe that this here is a bite mark instead of a stab wound, and if you have dental records, then you could use that to identify the perpetrator.
Good to know. He takes out a small little pocketbook, flips it open, and pen out of his pocket and starts writing stuff down. Do you then possibly know the victim in this case? We got multiple missing person cases, trying to make sure that we've got the paperwork all sorted out here.
No, I cannot identify this victim, at least not on a personal level.
Okay. Do you mind at least getting a DNA sample? Maybe we can do some cross-testing.
Yes, but you should probably stay back just in case. We don't want any cross-contamination, accidentally getting your DNA involved. In fact, a couple more steps back would be a good idea.
If I take any more steps back, I'm going to be out the door again.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. You can keep the door open, but don't. Other side of the threshold is safest for the contamination.
Is everything going on all right here, Dr. Johnson?
Hopefully.
That doesn't exactly sound promising.
It's a lot of complicated medical terminology that I'm not going to bore you with. Just do as doctor says.
The look of utter just, that this man gives you then is just blatantly obvious. Alright. So, Dr. Johnson, we know roughly time of death was sometime around 8 p.m. 2 nights ago. This one was brought in along with at least 2 more victims. Do you have issues with their brain matter
Chillmaster, are the other two victims currently in like the cold storage containers with the like doors closed? Or are they also on the autopsy tables?
They are in the cold storage, yeah.
Yes, but that can wait. It's just 2 nights ago, you said. And I want to check the corpse's signs of liver mortis and algal mortis to see if it still follows with 2 days ago, or if it looks like it's reducing as the corpse starts to kind of like reanimate.
Yeah. So as you begin to look at those things, the corpse doesn't seem to be changing as there's this scalpel sticking out of its eye, poked directly into its brain. But as you're sort of investigating, you see out the corner of your eye movement.
Going to turn and look.
As you look at it, you see a tall creature. Looks kind of like the shape of a person, but made entirely out of darkness with small pricks of light. It is reaching forward to open the cold storages, the 2 cold storages that you remember have the corpses. You were never entirely sure how the cold storages got opened to release the bodies. But as you're seeing it, this thing is opening the cold storages. And
go ahead.
There's movement. There's movement inside as they're sliding open.
I want to try to tackle this thing before it can fully open the containers.
Okay. You rush toward it. And you can make a close quarters combat roll for me to see how well do you tackle this thing.
32, that is a success.
Cool. You wrap your arms around it, slamming it into the metal of the cold storage. It's solid and not solid at the same time. It's like hugging a cloud that has a structure, is the feeling you get. Like you're gripping a pillow that's squishing as you grab it, but solid enough that you can. Does that make sense?
As I grapple it, yes. As I grapple, I want to try to like kick the door closed again.
Okay. As you go to do this, as you're trying to kick it closed, you can see that one of the corpses that's moving is holding in its hand this green amulet that is got strange writing on it and is glowing in the center inside of a gem.
Does it look like the Eye of Moat?
It does.
I do a double take and then immediately dive for that.
Okay. Make a dex roll as the creature that you're holding also reaches out for it.
All right. .22, that is a success.
But a
That's
high success?
Real good success. That's
Yes,
a colossal
20
success.
Yeah, 22 out of
It's
60.
colossal. That's actually correct. It's a colossal success. Thank you for pointing that out. Colossal success. You reach your hand the same time that it's reaching its hand, but your hand is faster. You snatch the Eye of Moat from the hand of the reanimated corpse as it begins to sit up. Special Agent Becker, the bodies inside the cold storage are starting to get up.
What in the fuck? You just see him.
Special Agent, shoot that thing.
What thing? Does he see the weird creature?
He also
or-
sees the weird creature.
I'm
made
pointing
of
at the zombie.
darkness. And then also the bodies that are sitting up in the cold storage.
At this point, he pulls out a looks to be standard issue pistol and does go out and fire.
Trusting that Becker will handle the zombies, I'm going to quickly backpedal around like another autopsy table so that there's like an obstacle in between me and this thing as I'm holding the Eye of Moat.
Special
17.
Special Agent Becker's shots land right in the head of the creature that's sitting up, throwing it back into the bed of the cold storage. The metal clangs as it hits. dropping it back down. The other one is falling out of the cold storage bed, but Alfred is sort of diving underneath one of the examination tables and scrambling away.
Well, not so
creature
much
made a-
under. I'm just trying to put an obstacle in between me and the creature.
Gotcha. Okay, so you move around a examination table, and the creature sort of moves towards you in a weird way. You thought you understood which direction it was facing, but as it moves, it's almost like its entire structure immediately does a 180, but without actually moving. Like the whole body is now facing the other direction as it moves towards you.
All right. I think a conversation is due. You one of the things didn't exactly get a species name or something.
In your head, you hear very strongly 4 voices, almost in unison, telling you to kill it.
Noted. As you were, as I speak to it.
It responds with an impression that it needs the Eye of Moat to win the war.
Yeah, there's a slight problem with that. We also need the Eye of Moat to keep the fucked up, weird, extra-dimensional beings out of our dimension because they've been causing a lot of problems, and that's kind of a no-go.
Make a willpower roll for me, if you could, Alfred.
Oh. My current willpower is at 30, so that's a failure.
Ooh.
Unless we got like a recovery period or something, but I don't think we did.
Not really. Okay. That would be a, like, real bad failure. A colossal failure.
Yeah,
Critical
that's a
failure.
botch.
A botch. You find yourself
Wait, how much does that
suddenly.
be off for a colossal failure?
It just has to be a failure that is a double number.
Oh, oh no.
You feel yourself discorporate. It felt this before. You discorporate and you reincorporate on the other side of the wall. But in the room as you're discorporating, Special Agent Becker, Alfred appears behind you, but everything in the room just starts going haywire. All of the lights are flickering. There's electrical sparks all over. A radio starts playing static. The recorder starts just making strange noises. And the creature reels back and flakes like it falls into the wall as something seems to lash out toward it.
Right.
I'm curious, seeing as this is an automatic weapon that is in Becker's hand and the round is chambered after each shot.
Yep.
Does that mean that the gunfire is off a few times too?
No, it's electrical items that go haywire.
Okay.
So it's not like
Not
not like
poltergeist
the gun.
mechanical. Okay.
yeah.
Well, there's another zombie, so he's gonna take a crack at that first before turning his gun on the creature.
Sure. Or the creature that just discorporated behind you.
Yep.
Or incorporated, yep.
That
That
is
looks
not
like
a
a failure,
success. Yep.
Yep. So in all of the flickering lights and loud noises, you fire a shot at the creature that is crawling on the ground toward you. It looks like it's probably going to grab the edge of the table and stand up, but you miss your shot because of all of the things happening. The creature then lashes out, and both of you, despite the fact that there's a brick wall between you, Alfred and the creature, you both get thrown into the wall beside you. Make a dexterity roll for me, Alfred.
Okay. That is a success.
Oh, good. You continue to hold on to the Eye of Moat.
All right, that's good. So I'm on the other side of the wall, so that means I can't even see the autopsy room or anything anymore.
Correct. You are now in the hall outside of it.
Great. Well, looks like the decision's being made for me, and I'm gonna start legging it.
Okay. You start to run down the hall, leaving Special Agent Becker on the ground, who is getting back up and firing into the room.
Oh wait, he's on the ground.
Wildly.
Never mind. I don't want to leave him behind.
Oh, okay.
I thought he was still up. That's my bad. So yeah, first I'll go to Becker, try to get him up and get him to leave him and be like, we need to go now. This is not something we can fight.
You move on.
No, I'm not exactly a fan of leaving people behind.
I'm not exactly a fan of having civilians get involved. Go.
I'm not exactly a civilian, I'm gonna be honest with you.
What the hell do you mean? You're a medical doctor. And he turns and fires another shot off just wildly.
I'm also a monster hunting medical doctor from the future. It's difficult to explain, but we gotta go.
Special
but you're
Agent
gonna
Becker, I was gonna say, you actually work for Save. Special Agent is your cover.
You're gonna have a lot of explaining to do.
Yep, in due time. Let's book it.
Okay. The two of you make it down the hall, sort of supporting each other as you run. You can see the creature made out of darkness and dots of star, and the world begins to fade around you. And you find yourselves in the lab, the bottom of the save office. Papers are flying all over the place. There are these weird balls of lightning. Everyone is throwing things and fighting. Becker is firing his gun at everything he can. There's multiple shadowy creatures made out of this sort of dark stuff with star points. It's pandemonium and chaos, and all four of you come back at the same time and moment. You're all here right now together. You all possess some form of the Eye of Moat in your hands.
All right.
Are the rest of us here too?
Yes, everyone is here. In fact, while they were off in strange timey-wimey land, Karen, Carla, and Becker have been actually engaged in what's happening down here, fighting all of this and dealing with it in every way they can.
Okay.
Okay. Are we still in the fight currently, or are we now just wrapping up?
You are in the middle of the fight, yes. There is stuff. Now, whether you're actually fighting is not pertinent. The fact is that there's fighting happening around you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing whatever you can to help with one side or the other. The four envoys have just been standing there the whole time, but also seemingly unaffected by everything going on around them. Like, no glasses have ever flown into them. No papers have hit them. But it's also been very quick. Sorry, go ahead.
Are they broken? She says as she goes to take a swing at whatever comes at her next.
Don't
the amulet or
know.
us?
Oh, now they're awake. Great.
Oh, very nice.
sorry. Long story.
What am I supposed to do with this, Amy?
Did the three of you also get sent back in time?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I can do this alone.
Yeah.
I think.
Do we combine them together like Captain Planet? What are we doing?
That's the best fucking shot I've got. I don't know what else we can fucking do.
All right, fuck it then.
Let's
Dibs on
try
Earth.
it.
I'm just gonna stick mine out.
Can't do a dibs on Earth. And
Well, I
I'll
just did.
Let's go. This
stick
is not
mine
the
out.
time to argue.
Come on.
So you all reach your hands out with your eyes of Moat.
Yes.
Mhm.
So your hands go out with the eyes of Moat, and nothing happens.
Yeah, it was worth a fucking shot.
Yeah.
Do
How we
I
pull the monster thing?
know what we need to do? Because he said he was going to give me the thing, but did he give me instructions?
He didn't, but as you're standing there reaching out your hands with everyone else in an awkward Captain Planet kind of pose, as Alfred indicated, or Power Ranger morphing time kind of pose, you realize that you suddenly have a question. How do we do this? And the fact that your mind has been changed and altered by an 8th dimensional creature, you remember the fact that Rouge and some of the others kept referencing a question that they didn't know.
The equation?
Comes to mind.
I
There was
guess
an
I'll
answer, but they didn't know the question.
I guess I'll look to Kayla. Did you solve the equation?
Tanya solved the equation. We've been together all day.
Can you?
What the equation was to figure out what the question. They knew the answer.
Yeah.
What's the answer?
What's the question?
Well, if they know the answer, we can try to figure out the question from there, like Jeopardy.
Is that how that works?
I don't know.
Still have the copy where I wrote down the equation, don't I?
Yes, you do. And you actually transcribed the entire thing onto one sheet of paper that, from what you could tell, right? You were writing it down on a notepad. Yeah. You still have that notepad.
All right, I am going to open it and start trying to do math in my head.
Make a roll for me. It's going to be one that's related to your skills at the math.
Ooh.
Oh. If it's financial forensics, then I am barely passing.
Yep, that would be a success. You're crunching the numbers in the middle of a fight. There's crazy things happening. There's glass smashing. There's paper flying. And you begin to start piecing it together. You just experienced some kind of time loop thing. And so something occurs to you that perhaps the reason why you couldn't solve it before, why they hadn't quite solved it yet, is that their minds were thinking in multiple dimensions, and you don't have that capability because you've never experienced those other dimensions before. So you're processing it on this dimensional plane, as it were, and it starts to make sense to you. Alfred, what are you doing as Kayla is mathing in the middle of a fight?
Seeing as I have my gun now, I'll have that drawn and more or less give her any covering fire that's necessary as she does what she's good at.
Okay. Shooting at whatever is going on. It seems to be working. Like when you hit something, it seems to react to it. Whatever you shoot at. I mean, at this point, everyone is kind of an enemy and everyone is kind of a friend, right? Depending on how you look at it. Amy, what are you doing while Kayla is mathing?
Does she feel like she needs to keep focusing to keep this portal, like, stable?
It's way out of control at this point. It might need more focusing to get it back under control.
Okay, then she's gonna try and get it back under control if she can.
Okay. Focusing some of your willpower. You can either make a roll or flip a coin.
I flip the token.
Okay. Token is flipped. Amy begins to gain control of the portal. Frankie, what are you doing while Kayla's mathing?
What is John W. doing?
John is directing what appears to be an army of weird ball lightning things toward the various creatures in black. He's standing on top of one of the tables and he's lashing out. He's also making weird hand motions and causing things to happen, like lights to spark and launch energy at these creatures. When one comes at him, he lashes out with his hands and it seems to rend one of the creatures. And then he discorporates and appears somewhere else in the room.
I want to, when he discorporates and right as he reappears, I want to try to find a pattern, if there is one, so that I can sneak up behind him.
Okay. Yeah. You're watching him long enough that you can notice that despite him thinking he's a superior being with a superior mind, he does have a pattern. There's only so many places to discorporate and reincorporate, right? So you begin to notice that he's got a movement pattern. Becker, what are you doing during all of this?
Becker currently right now is on the floor. Knees touching the carpeted surface, and his head is in his hands.
He's hearing 4 screaming voices fighting for control. They have power. Becker knows they have power, but they're fighting with each other so that none of them can lash out. What is Karen doing during all of this?
We were not aware of the memories they experienced, correct?
No, you're not aware. Well, so let me say this. You're not aware that they went into a memory and experienced it, but you do know what happened. It was in the past for you.
Okay.
A long time ago.
Okay, that wasn't clear to me. All right, cool. Then I am going to... I mean, I'm probably fighting or helping Morphin and his guys fight. I don't really know what else to do. So,
Sure.
Karen has distanced herself enough that she's not gonna screw up everybody around her when she screams and is screaming and physically lashing out at things, and she's scary.
And no one is being kind to her, so she's full on.
Correct. Utterly vicious.
Screams and shouts loud. There's glass that's just melting around her. Creatures are reeling back.
And when she gets into melee with somebody, she is actually using fairly standard save hand-to-hand tactics. If a little bit more vicious and bloodthirsty than usual.
Oh yeah, you're fighting for your life at this point. If a life you have.
And life is still life.
What is Carla doing at this moment?
Oh, if at all possible, she's at this point trying. She's obviously like fighting to like defend herself and defend her co-workers. Any chance she can, she's gonna try to confuse whatever tries to approach her. And whatever she can't confuse, her fangs are gonna pop right out and she's just gonna take bites and like rip out chunks of skin.
Mm-hmm. Dirk is right behind her. He's doing things with his hands and stuff. He's doing very similar things to as Warfin. Currently seems to be pulling on some kind of crazy power, but Carla is confusing many of the creatures that get close and then biting at them if they get too close, rending their weird shadowy flesh, whatever it is, causing starlights to go everywhere.
Delicious.
Kayla, you begin to piece together all of the numbers, and with the Eye of Moat in your hand, you realize something about how they're supposed to go. Sticking them forward was not the right thing, but it's kind of like some kind of box or square, if when formed creates its own prison or alternate dimension or portal or something. The math starts to come together and you realize exactly the kind of geographical or a geometrical layout it needs to be in to make it work. But it required 4 of them. And that's why that's why that's why they couldn't solve the equation. They were missing some pieces to it.
See. Everyone, please give me your pieces right now.
I'm gonna just hand mine over.
Yep.
Frankie hands hers, but as she does that, as you take it, she goes, "Now, you can't be mad at me. I may or may not have made a deal, so don't lose that."
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that, and I'm gonna go ahead and put together all of the pieces.
Is the deal you made going to stop these things from going back to their own dimension?
She looks at you and blinks, and then shrugs.
Not reassuring, Frankie. I need you to say the word no, just for my own sake right now.
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of going in and out of the conversation, but I made friends with someone, and
You were going in and out of the conversation you were part of?
I think we plan to hang out later.
We don't have time for this. Oh, God.
Frankie, as you finish this bit with Al, Warfin discorporates, and because you've been watching him, you know where he's about to reincorporate.
I want to head over there silently.
Okay. You move to where he's going to be. You can see him forming in front of you. He's not looking at you, he's looking at all the things going around you.
Can I use Quicken to tackle her?
You want to tackle her?
I think so.
Well, does that mean that you'd stop concentrating on the portal? This becomes your choice, Amy. Do you stop concentrating on the portal, or do you continue to concentrate on the portal?
Fuck. Yeah, she's gonna drop concentration on the portal.
Okay. And so Quicken works in what way? You make a roll?
Yeah, so essentially the main reason I'm using it is because it means that she can't interrupt me.
Aha.
So yeah, I'll make my roll. That is a success.
And so you tackle Frankie just as she gets up behind Warfin.
Yes.
Okay, Frankie, just as you get up behind Warfin, out of nowhere, Amy tackles you.
Ah. What are you doing?
Yeah, I could ask you the same fucking thing.
I'm trying to incapacitate the guy with the hands and the things, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. That's why we're going after where Warfin is clearly starting to pop into existence.
Yes.
Yeah. Amy's going to call out to Alfred if she can.
Okay.
And
Frank?
yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say basically she's gonna ask him to keep an eye on Frankie.
Frankie, what do you do as Amy turns to shout at Alfred in all of this chaos?
Has John noticed this interaction?
There's so much chaos going on, John's probably not noticing anything.
Oh, yeah. Then if she's turned away and not grappling me, I'm gonna continue what I was doing. So I'm gonna try and get up behind him.
And well, you have her on you, but what were you trying to do when you got up behind him?
Stab
Because you're
him.
behind him now. You're gonna stab
With
him?
a knife. Yeah, with a knife.
Amy's holding you, and you reach out and you go to stab him. You do. Your blade punctures into him. And I'm going to look at his sheet real fast. Because I don't think that does what you think it does. Huh. It does hurt him. You can tell that it hurts him. He shouts, but turns to you. And we're going to make a roll. An opposed roll. Your willpower versus a number that I have. Oof.
Hoo-hoo.
Well, you got a high success. So you have some understanding of what's happening to you. But his was also a success, and it was a double number. So you, Amy, as you're holding Frankie, Frankie suddenly vanishes. Just entirely. And you feel a pull, you feel a change in the air around you. Frankie, you find yourself drifting somewhere in the dark. Just somewhere. And you're hurt, and you're falling backwards in toward nothing. You're alone because you don't have the voices of Cheryl, and Cheryl in your heads anymore.
Can I look around? Do I just not see anything?
There's nothing, but you realize that while you are in the dark and while you are alone physically, there is a ninth dimensional being still linked to you in your head.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go, hey, Cheryl.
You get a chaotic response feeling.
Same. It's been a day. So I'm not 100% sure exactly what you wanted me to do. But I think I did it. You're gonna have to confirm that. But if you wanna like meet up for coffee or something right now, I'm kind of just floating through nothingness, so I'm available.
Okay. You get an affirmative response, and the world begins to change around you again. And we'll get to you in a little bit. Kayla, you put all 4 pieces in the proper geometrical configuration, and what's weird is there's some kind of stacking that needs to happen, but not directly on top, like a little bit above. But when you go to place the amulet there, despite the fact that gravity should take it when you let go, it does not. And you form this square. As you do, the gems all begin to shine and point toward each other. And the portal changes. A light comes out of the 4 pieces of the amulets and converges in the center, creating a pinpoint. The portal that is swirling around went incredibly out of control when Amy suddenly dove, and then it reaches out and turns into a sort of cone-like funnel from where it is over by the remnants of the papier-mâché to this dot in the center of these 4 amulets.
To leave it where it is and back away a few steps.
Okay. You start backing away. Everyone else can see this new cone of green energy that is created by what Kayla just did.
Mean?
Hmm?
Warfin, what does this mean?
You shout to Warfin.
Yes.
Warfin begins to shout in what appears to be some kind of surprise and happiness. And all of him and all of the globes of light begin to move toward it. What do the rest of you do?
Did I see Frankie just vanish?
Yes. Amy was shouting to you to help, and then you see Warfin reach out, touch her, and then she vanishes.
I'm gonna look at Warfin. Where did she go?
He's distracted by the cone.
I'm gonna pull up my gun and then just aim it right at like the amulet configuration. Warfin, where did she go?
Elsewhere, he shouts over the sound of the chaos.
You're gonna bring her back.
He's in your hands now.
That wasn't a request.
He moves toward the cone.
I'm gonna aim a little bit below the amulet configuration, fire 1 warning shot, then aim back up at it. Don't listen to me again. I will shoot it. Then you're gonna be stuck here for way longer than you're gonna like. Might be hell for us, but I have a feeling it's gonna be much more hell for you.
If you destroy it now, you destroy your entire existence.
Sometimes friends are worth that.
No, they're
He
not.
looks
Don't shoot that. Please don't shoot that, please.
Bring her back.
I can't, he says, as loud as he can, over all of the sound of everything. The lights, the ball lightning things begin to move into the cone. The shadowy creatures, most of them, start to move toward it as well, like they're chasing the balls of electrical energy. Becker, the voices in your head shout out and then they stop, as if they all left. And in that same moment, you see 4 globes of electrical light leave sort of your eyes and head toward the cone.
If you can't, then how do we bring her back?
I don't know, but you're in charge of save now.
God, you're a fucking asshole.
He gives you a wry smile and goes, "Doodaloo!" and jumps into the cone.
I'm just gonna groan and lower the gun.
Bring her back, Alfred. We'll find a way.
The extra dimensional being didn't fucking know how. How are we supposed to figure that shit out?
It wouldn't have been a problem if Frankie didn't take it upon herself to try and stab him.
We did math already. We can do more math. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out.
The swirling portal pulls in, this cone pulls in lots of various random bits and bobs from the lab. They get crushed up into their pieces as they get pulled in. It's like a cyclone. It's getting crazy and out of control. Glass is beginning to fly everywhere.
We'll figure out later. For now, take cover.
I will do as he says.
Okay. You dive under something. Does everyone dive for cover of some kind?
Oh, yeah.
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 Very good. There's this incredible burst of energy, and the room is bathed in a green light. Glass gets thrown everywhere. Pieces of debris get thrown everywhere. Wood gets thrown. Some of the things you're using to hide behind get tossed over. You get pushed. No real damage does anyone really take. People are injured, but not like in any way that's not relatively healable with some bandages. But everything stops and the room goes dark and it's silent.
Do we still have the things in our head?
No. Nope. All of the voices have silenced.
Okay.
Including the ones in Alfred's head.
Oh, good. The Beatles are gone.
In the darkness, you eventually start to hear people moving, cracking. Dirk turns on his cell phone light. You can see that there's only one eye of mote on the floor in the lab. There are not four. Just one. But there is no signs of any globe light creatures or shadow creatures anywhere.
Someone secure the amulet.
Yeah, I got it.
So in the peace and quiet that follows, there's really nothing that happens for a while until people start to come down. Apparently, everyone that was inside the office at the time all had strange voices in their head. They all were changed in some way, but then it all just kind of stopped. But that's kind of par for the course for everything going on up in this office in the last couple of weeks. You know, just a little while ago, they were dancing around saying Oreo. Things begin to get back together. Alfred is put in charge, as is the contract that he shows to just about everyone, including the three Johns. John Rouge is back, and he knows why he can't use his legs, but he's really angry, but understands that he was not himself at the time. He gets put into a hospital, and he decides that he's going to retire. So, Alfred, your first order of business is to accept his letter of resignation from SAVE.
That's fine. I was going to get rid of his position anyway.
You make some changes around the SAVE office, I assume?
Oh, yeah. Cut out some of the superfluous roles, some of the over budgeting in certain areas. Definitely some fixes that need to be made.
Do you increase the technology of the office at all?
not by a drastic amount, but I do intend to add at least like a PA machine or an intercom.
The Save Regional or the Save North America office gives you a letter saying they accept your leadership, but will send envoys from various regional offices to come help reestablish and build the office. And everything kind of starts coming back together in the way that it does. But as we look at the office as it's rebuilding itself after everything, we find that Frankie ends up in a coffee shop. It's brightly lit. There's a window that looks out on a cobblestone street. It's just a regular coffee shop. They're making everything that you'd expect, frappuccinos, espressos. And she's in the room with several people. Some of them look human. Some of them don't look so human. But she finds herself at a table with a smaller but relatively normal sized, so not the giant creature she saw before, but a small version of a creature with a body of shadows and pinpricks for light, but a head of a deer and the antlers of a deer as well. The coffee shop has a menu over its counter that has her name and the names of some of her friends on it. And they're just sitting there as she realizes things have changed.
Does Frankie have a drink in her hand?
She does. It's called the Frankie.
She's sort of swirling a spoon in it and sort of taps it. So, how was your Friday? And she sipped the coffee.
There's a laugh that comes from Cheryl that's also matched with a laugh from the creature's head. And then you get an interesting one. There's a door near you, Frankie. It looks like the door to a mop room at the office. But you get to enjoy your coffee as everything goes to black. And we say goodbye for the night. And forever, because this is the last episode of The Office. Goodbye, everyone.